this could be the 31st round of Hearthstone. Again, I keep saying that. Got to shout out Chosen, who did reset a bracket against him in the final. But we're going to see some Mage, and we haven't seen that much Mage. We saw some in the last round, but in these matchups, you tend to get your Mage banned against the normal lineups. But in the mirrors, actually, the Mage is the weak link. The aggro decks do quite well against it.
Yeah, because the Mage, even though we all know how the Mage works, it basically apply minion pressure, get some chip damage in, and then just chuck all the spells to the face after like 5, 6 rounds of just doing the minion trading. But the thing with these aggro lineups, they actually have something to trade with your minions. You don't get that chip damage, and then suddenly you don't have enough reach.
Yeah, but the Zoo's an interesting one. It is good against the Mage. However, you damage yourself quite a lot. You have to be very careful, and the Mage can play pretty defensively, oddly enough, and then sort of buy itself some time until it gets those cosmic anomalies. And if you have cleared enough of the board, they might stick for one turn, and that is the end of the game.
What's really interesting about this Su, though, it's like Su is a deck that goes in and out of the meta all the time, and it's not that it's very new. This new heal version of Su with Happy Ghouls and everything, because they basically have several things that you just high roll their hand. Basically, Kelleset is always a good high roll.
Talking of a good starting hand, the option was there to go incredibly wide here. But first of all, he just wants to challenge off this Mana Worm, not give any free good trades, because cards are huge here. Obviously, Zoo has a hero power that fetches more cards, but also you don't want to overuse it because the Mage has such crazy bursts on turn 6, 7 with the Cosmic Anomaly.
Yeah. And we see here JustSaian just want to keep his Mana Worm alive, and he would love to save the second Arcane Missile set for clear off more stuff, because the face damage doesn't matter that much in the early game. But Dawido is already down to 20, and with the 3/3 Mana Worm staring at him, and he needs to do something fast.
Yeah, and although we call it Heal Zoo, the healing is really just an activator for the Ghoul. It's not going to save you against most things. It might help you a little bit, but it's not really there to save you.
Yeah, it gives you like a couple of free taps, basically, and that's all it gives. But mostly it's Light Wardens and Happy Ghouls. It's the target for those heals.
Dawido, though, has seen those 2 missiles, so he may be very tempted just to go basically all in here. He can play 3 1-cost minions and the Ghoul, and there's not much punish. Plus, it plays around the runes if he does it this way.
Yeah.
This means that he will get these minions on board, and maybe they're enough to pretty much carry him the whole way. The downside is, of course, that the Mana Worm just goes straight through this Voidwalker. The upside is it doesn't hit you in the face.
Yeah, so this is looking quite grim for JustSaian as well. He's sitting now, he used 3 cards already on 2 turns, and he doesn't necessarily have an activator. He picks up the Arcanologist, which is a huge pickup, though.
It is. He's going to have to play off curve if he wants to use it, but I think he may need to. It's pretty good against the board state he's going to be facing. It only dies to the Happy Ghoul, but it does get him that secret for the swing turn with the Kirin Tor.
Yeah, the thing about, like, for the Su hand as well, the goal for Su here early is just to control the board. Like, everyone says, like, Su is a Smork... oh, he chooses the ping.
Yeah, he's low on cards, and he's decided that, okay, if I'm going to play off curve, let's get myself back onto curve on turn 4 and get 2 extra pings, over the next few turns.
Yeah, because JustSaian is afraid of losing the board now. He wants... because that... Voodoo Doctor could just value trade into the Mana Worm, or not value trade, but very cheap trade, basically, because it already taken damage from the Voidwalker.
And one of the features of Saiyan's play with aggro has been his incredible patience. I mean, when you see the plays, they're always obvious with aggro decks, that's the problem. But they're not always that easy to find without thinking very carefully. But he has got this back on curve. He is, however, in an incredibly tight spot. But still on 27. And this ping does mean that another trade is possible next turn.
Yeah, he's setting this up to basically so Dawido never can actually have any value trades. But Dawido draws a Kelleset, which is huge now.
You think it's still in time, this Kelleset is probably going to affect it enough, you think?
Yeah, it's Kelleset effect is basically buff your whole deck with +1/+1, and that's always good, because a lot of the minions are quite good on their own, but they're just that much better because it's so a little bit out of reach for some of the removal that Mage can have, and just favorably trades into some of the stuff that the Mage can throw at them.
And as you've seen, Saiyan sort of using the pings to pick things off, those extra 1 health would have protected so many of these minions. And like you say, it's only turn 4, so he's going to get stuff. And Solarium means that next turn, depending what he picks up, could be insane.
Gives him a lot of options. And Solarium is also a really cool card, I think. It's it almost seems like it was made for the Warlock quest, but it's so much better in Su.
Yeah, Zoo just will never die. Especially in last hero standing, where Zoo is notoriously difficult to hard counter. You can soft counter it pretty easily, but it's notoriously difficult to hard counter. And one of the strategies you can employ in last hero is just to not get hard countered and just have great matchups over and over again that aren't too bad.
Here we see Dawido drawing kind of blank with the Soul Infusion, which is also a new inclusion here, which also is really cool card. It's like basically it's hand buffs, but it's good for some reason.
It took me a long time to believe how good this card was. Apart from the obvious, when you get it on a chain gang or doubling imp, that's obvious. But it took me how long to realise it was actually just a good card on even a Void Walker. It can just be such a nuisance even on turn 1 Void Walkers. Yeah,
but basically having a turn 1 Void Walker and basically having a Sentient Shield Master for 2 cards for 2 mana. It's a strong turn 1 play with a coin or the turn 2 play without it.
And oh, he saved at the end here. This was nearly a complete disaster, but it's going to turn out okay for him. He's going to get to play a 6/6.
We can't buff the Blood Knight because it's the leftmost.
Oh, so it buffs the Fungal Mancer. Oh, well, just because my brain just filtered out Fungal Mancer as existing there. Yeah,
because it can't be played. Yeah.
So it's just a 4/4.
It's a pretty poor turn for Dawido.
Yeah,
he would love to have something he can actually buff with that. And seeing as he also gets killed off by the explosive roots, it doesn't make it that. It's not a happy turn for Dawido.
It's a really awful turn for him. And JustSaian now in a position where the mage can turn the corner. He's done enough damage, or enough damage has been taken by Dawido that he doesn't want to tap more than maybe. I mean, that's for him to judge, but maybe once, maybe twice more in the entire game. Twice would be 14. That's really low.
And one of the key cards in this matchup, JustSaian has one of the key combo cards in this matchup. That's Cosmic Anomaly, because a Cosmic Anomaly with Shooting Star just wrecks boards. And then you see now he picks up the Shooting Star, and he's probably just going to save that for when Dawido goes wide, and he can just clear it off easily. Yeah,
JustSaian is in very close to complete control of this game now. Dawido's going to have to tap because he's got nothing to do. That's not the pickup he's looking for. You don't want to take 5 damage and then just lose to the Shooting Star next turn. But if you don't develop, you will lose to slow fireballs.
Yeah. He has the opportunity here now to buff a minion quite a lot, though. And then with the Kelazet buff as well, they can get quite large. But
yeah.
Is it enough? That's a problem, because he's getting low. 16 health isn't a safe total versus Mage.
Yeah, and this hand from JustSaian now is looking very tasty. He can play the whole lot next turn because of the reduction from the Apprentice.
And whatever comes of Glyph as well.
Exactly. Glyph is pretty good.
And seeing that Dawido is actually considering if he wants to play the Flame Imp or not, because even though Flame Imp has a 4/3, that's great stats for 1 mana, but those 3 damage to face, yeah, putting down to 13, that's within double fireball ping range, and yeah.
And now he loses the game because he has gone through assessing the chance of, do I think there's Shooting Star and Anomaly in hand? If there is, I lose. And the chances are that it's not there, but it is. And that's going to get him cleared up, and Zoo does not come back very well against Mage at all. There's things he can do. He can still pick up a Chain Gang to slow things down, but now he is so low on health that JustSaian will...
With a few pings, and
yeah,
the Doom Guard is a great pickup, though. It makes him able to clear off this Cosmic Anomaly, because this Cosmic Anomaly is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it really is. It's just an absolutely nightmare, but this is going to be a massive Doom Guard.
Yeah, the biggest Doom Guard in history.
And that is the card he needed. Again, I was relying on the Glyph now to get it done for JustSaian if this happens.
And Glyph can do magical things. Like a Frost Nova is perfect. It makes him able to push more damage. Something like a Polymorph is even better because it makes him be able to remove it. Or just getting more burn so you can just toss it face.
Even things like Mirror Images can just block it for a couple of turns as well while you just connect face.
Heard a lot about this Mirror Images.
Yeah, one of the casters just won't shut up about this card, I hear.
He decides to tap, though, because he sees that the Doom Guard won't do the job because he will still push through damage. And JustSaian going up 1-0 with his Tempo Mage. And this is huge.
That's absolutely huge. The Zoo out of the way, which just cleans up everything nicely. Number 2 works out. And Dawido is down to the Rogue, which I think is slightly favoured against the Mage, but you have a lot of trouble sometimes. And JustSaian is playing that Armani Berserker, which is a big deal.
Yeah, the Armani Berserker is really good versus the Rogue because it doesn't get picked off by the dagger. And you see him keeping it as well. It's a decent 2-drop, and it can also be pinged by himself to just do more damage. And this opener though, mana worm every turn.
Yeah, Dawido's hand isn't that great. It looks good at a glance, but actually it doesn't do a whole lot.
This is a much better hand versus other types of deck because it's a lot of damage basically.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind this against an even lock.
No. Versus something you actually need to control a little bit. This is looking rough for Dawido. There's still a couple of more turns with draws that can change everything around because, as we said, Odrogue should, in theory, be favored in this matchup due to the dagger being able to take out all the minions, and then you can apply minion pressure for your own, and just and the mage has to use his spells to actually do the same thing.
And yeah, things like Leroy are just not what you want. It feels like it's what you want because it does so much damage, but you just want the board. That's all you need.
Yeah, he has a lot of 16 damage from hand plus dagger if he wants.
Sure. All you got to do now is find the other 14 and you're good to go. But where's that going to come from?
And you see Dawido coining out the dagger here just to be able to take down his mana worm before it becomes a nuisance. JustSaian though, picking up all the minions in the world. He has like all the 2-drops to pick from, and he plays down on a Mana Berserker just to really solidify that even if you clear this mana worm, I will have a big minion on board. That if you want to take it down, it's going to cost you a lot of health, because if Saiyan pings his Amani Berserker next turn, you have to tank it with a dagger. You're taking 10 damage.
Yeah, and this is always the problem with the Berserker. You almost never actually ping it because you don't get the chance to. You almost don't want to sometimes. You just want to establish your board and get on with your life. But just the threat of it happening means your opponent has to deal with it, which means you never have to spend that 2 mana.
Yeah, it's perfect. And you saw here also he's spending a Cold Blood and a Southsea Deckhand to just clear off another 2-3. And it's these kinds of value deals. They're the ones you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Giggling Inventor picked up from Dawido. Again, against aggro decks, yes, it's good, but the trouble is the Mage, by turn 5, may well have just done its thing.
Yeah.
If these minions have connected face enough times, the Rogue has no healing. And the Rogue, you can hold off the Rogue's minions for long enough that it struggles to kill you really quickly as the Mage. And with that in mind, I think that the Giggling is not going to be quick enough.
Well, here we see the Aluneth picked up as well, which gives JustSaian just all the refuel he wants. Now he can just empty his hand without worry about resources.
Yeah, and because he has the board, the Aluneth can be a bit troublesome against Rogue because the Rogue hits you for 16 on the backswing.
Yeah.
But if you've got the board with a Aluneth in your hand as the Rogue versus as the Mage versus the Rogue, it's like a free turn, and then you do just start doing all that stuff with Cinderstorms and anomalies, clear board after board, and eventually just launch stuff into the face.
Yeah. And you see Dawido's hand there, though. He feels, I can almost feel his misery. You have a Rogue, you have like, what, 60-70% of the deck is 3 mana or less, and you can't play anything.
And normally the Unstable Element is fantastic for clearing up the Mage, but not when you've already got the Leroy, 2 Cold Bloods have gone in your hand. You're not digging for that burst that you're normally digging for. And Saiyan's just leisurely, if that's even a word, taking over the board. And now the ping on the second Berserker's coming in, and the damage has been done.
Yeah.
Dawido's got to hold it off as long as he can. But Aluneth will just get more and more damage. And Saiyan, still on 30 health, means that he can just chill, play Aluneth, and move on with his life.
Yeah. And you see Dawido can't really clear off this Amanda Berserker with his face now. Puts him down to 8.
Yeah, he just dies to any Mage cards. He's decided that he doesn't win the other way, though.
This is super risky, and JustSaian he is completely in control here. He has so many options to how to get through. Just playing a Luneth there is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Just, wow, yeah, I'm 30 health. You have almost no board. The Anoitrons have is no damage, basically. So
worth explaining there, though, we did have caster vision on the Aluneth.
Yeah.
So from where Dawido sat, he's got to think, okay, what do I beat? I beat a handful of
counter spells.
Yeah, counter spells and arcane intellects and not much. So if I take this down in some worlds, I probably get the job done in my... Yeah, you're already in so much trouble. And I probably don't beat a Luneth from 13 anyway.
That's true. A Luneth draws so much damage so fast.
So I need these Anoitrons to fight back on board to give myself any chance of cutting the Mage's time to win down, and that's why he went with what he did. And you can see he's now managed to launch some element of counterattack by protecting those 2 minions.
Yeah, and a 7-4 Divine Shield Taunt is... So you have to remove it almost as a mage, because the clock is ticking now. Dawido, if he goes face with this as well, he's put on another 2-turn clock for the mage to either clear his board or die, because it's 12 damage on board.
Yep, going face here leaves 20 damage next turn if you count Leroy and the 14 on the board. He's double checking that.
Yeah.
He wanted to trade and then he suddenly realised, hang on, actually I'm just setting up lethal for next turn.
Yeah.
So the 3 damage was pretty important there. But
no, JustSaian's gonna go though. Just clearing off everything.
The double missile or shooting star missiles should get it done.
Hand. And the fireball off it.
The fireball he needs.
Using the missile first. Is that the correct play?
I mean, the fireball costs 0, right, for 8 damage.
No, it's 1.
It's 1. My eyes today. My goodness.
Yeah, like statistically, it's better to play missiles there. Or is it better to play shooting star first?
Usually you use shooting star, but if it involves divine shields, I think it switches around because you've got to proc those shields off.
Yeah, that might be right.
So, because otherwise you waste damage on the shields.
Now he puts up another.
Yeah, now it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but this is what he has to do. He can't take more minion damage, and he's just I can't clear off the cosmic anomaly unless I'm using Leroy for it.
But well worth explaining there what Dawido did set up that counter attack, which gave him a chance of beating. And even here, he's dead and he knows it. But the turn before, he did set up. If Saiyan doesn't have the right combination of cards, if he's got cluttery minions, he could possibly have won the game.
And you see that, like, Dawido is a national champion in Poland.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he knows, like, I'm not playing to just survive. I have to play to win. And I just saying, putting everything on board and saying, just check. I do favored, and you never want to like everything to land on a mirror matchup because that's a 50-50. But see here though, both players having a mana worm.
This will be short and sweet. Counterspell picked off a Dawido. Quite often, forgetting the mana worm aspect, which we all know and love, the first person to land a secret is often in a very good spot here. Because they just end up with this tempo you can't break. You have to blow the secrets up with something. And if Dawido gets a half decent turn 2, he should be in a good spot with a Kirin Tor counterspell. But if he doesn't, he could be in a world of trouble because Saiyan has drawn a lot of minions and you can occupy the board quite nicely.
Yeah, and Dawido doesn't have a removal directly for this mana worm. He can use Shooting Star and Arcane Missiles and feel miserable. He can also luck out on the Arcane Missile. What's the percentage chance to hit all 3 missiles?
To hit all 3 is 1 in 8, but to hit the 2 he needs to then Shooting Star, which wouldn't be that bad, would be 50-50.
Yeah. Or as long
assuming
as
he doesn't want to trade his mana worm ever at this point. But again, he's not overly bothered about trading the mana worm because he half expects it to get frostbolted next turn. But you'd rather not, and this is definitely worthy of consideration. He could just Shooting Star and bump if he wants to and save the missiles.
Yeah. He has a lot of options, and that's why he's taking his time. But which card will give me more value later?
I do think this 1 in 8 is worth taking.
This is the worst outcome, though.
Very much so, yeah. It's just wasted damage there. Yeah, if he wins the 1 in 8, he just wins the game. Not on the spot, but very close to. So, sounds like not much of a chance, but in mirrors, 12% swings on 1 turn. You take those.
Yeah. And now JustSaian picking up that Arcanologist just gives him the perfect turn 3. Before it was like standing there with a lot of minions, but not the Kirin Tor. Basically why you have Kirin Tors in the deck, playing free secrets.
We have many.
Double counterspell becoming more and more prevalent. For the longest time, people just played 1.
Yeah.
So, tempted to go face here.
The thing is also about the secrets. They are really secret when you play in the tournament because you can see the list. But on ladder, you can experiment a little bit. I see mirror entities. I see something like that. I see Rat Trap in the Secret Hunters and stuff like that. Something that would probably never be played in a tournament setting because everyone knows it.
So JustSaian did pick up a secret of his own that turn, and now the card advantage swings his way. And using the coin to proc the counterspell has given him pretty advantageous position for the time being.
Yeah. Which secret do you think is the best one for in the mirror matchup? Is it Counterspell or is it Explosive Runes?
It honestly depends on the situation you get into, I feel. I think if you're ahead on board, Explosive Runes just wins you the game a lot of the time. Because they have to play one of their... They've only got, say, 12 minions, give or take, and they're all very important to your plan, so it just kills one. Whereas the Counterspell, sure, it does slow them down if they're trying to frostbolt your minion, but they have other spells that you can throw a fairly unimportant spell at it and then put a real one in.
Yeah, you
to
have
the
like
point
a-
where
yeah.
Osaka's dropped counterspell completely, getting to rank 4 legend.
Oh, that's quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, he's playing one mirror
Because
entity
what I
instead.
see the counterspell is really important is in other matchups, basically stopping big nourish turns, stopping big quest strokes turns.
Plague sometimes is a
Plague,
big one to stop. Like you say, nourish. All those mid-range turns for Druid are very important.
But seeing now how the mage in the mirror matchup is only cheap spells and single target damage, most likely, and rune.
Can be really good against Rogue, even if you just stop a coin sometimes, which is really weird. As long as you Kirin Tor the counterspell, if you stop the Rogue's coin, you can be in a great spot.
Yeah, because you still got a 4-3 on board, and that's fairly budgeted.
And it cuts out, say, coin Vile Spine. So counterspell, I think a lot of people want to drop it, but they also want to play some secrets in their secrety mage deck. So people are cutting more and more secrets out.
Yeah. Here we see JustSaian also picking up a secret off the top, making his Kirin Tor, even though it dies due to the explosive runes. He gets another secret up, and then now he's basically both the secrets and locking Dawido out of his turn, because everything it does gets blocked.
Yeah, the mirror is about your secrets. I was saying at the start, is about who gets the first, but Saiyan has found a way to proc that and get himself 2 secrets down of his own. And as you see, just completely locked out Dawido. This is the problem with explosive runes. What do? You don't play the apprentice into it now because you might get another explosive runes next turn, so you want to play 2 minions at once. But the rest of your turn is do nothing.
Like pinging face, this feels horrible in turn 5. Wasting 3 mana, doing nothing to develop, and like even though secrets isn't a board development, they're still a development. They're basically they're there as a trigger for something, and so it's basically having like 2 shadow minions doing something. So so JustSaian has the board.
Yeah, and Dawido just decided, okay, I've got to save the mana in case I top deck a minion next turn. Hope there isn't a follow-up for Saiyan. And this is already looking pretty desperate for him. And a Luneth picked up for Saiyan here. I don't know how people feel playing against Saiyan, because obviously his run is absolutely extraordinary, and that's a good pickup. Everyone who sits down against him must be like, I'm going to be the one. And then suddenly you find yourself 2-0 down, and in a mirror match, and your opponent's got secrets and you haven't, and he's going to play a Luneth next turn.
Yeah, it must feel...
Because there haven't been 31 unlucky people out there.
No.
But every single one of them is probably away going, I could have won that. He's so lucky.
Yeah. But that was this, like, the whole HCT tour stop thing is showing. Like,
Right.
It's not only about luck, because if it was only luck, we would see a much wider winners field, basically.
I'm so glad that I kept sort of a lot of the stats on the players, because it really is showing that past results are a future predictor, which people didn't necessarily believe before. But you know, I've got the numbers now. The best players are the best players. They're not the luckiest players.
And there we see he's just using 3 mana, ping face, and do nothing this turn. No development, no nothing, just because that secret was new.
Yeah, he needs to play Anomaly Shooting Star on this foreign anomaly and hope that a Luneth wasn't there, but it was. Now you have to go all in to generate any sort of board, and this, as you can see, is just going to get picked apart by Saiyan, and Dawido is going to be like 7 cards to 0 down, and mages trade cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, one mage card kills one other mage card. It's kind of how Frostbolts line up with the deck, and if you haven't got any cards, you are just doomed.
And seeing also, as JustSaian has the Luneth, he can spend his whole hand not caring about any form of card advantage, or disregard all of the Trump teachings and all that stuff. Just, I can do whatever I want.
I mean, Saiyan can just do whatever he wants anyway at the moment. He's just destroying Hearthstone fields. Somewhere in China right now, Hunter Ace is probably getting the news about this and thinking, I'm better than him. I want to prove it. He'll get his chance in Singapore. They're both going to be there.
This card is key, though, getting double draw, but he's so far behind now. He can, like, double clear, that's his whole
this is what I'm saying, yeah, 2 cards versus 2 cards, great, but Saiyan's drawing 3 a turn. And he's not going to fatigue because the deck is full of damage.
Yeah, the problem with the Luneth versus, like, slower matchup and Druids, it's like you fatigue out and you die. Yeah. That's, like, the game plan for the control deck. But versus a mage, you're never going to fatigue out. And we see this, JustSaian taking a 3-0 in basically a mirror lineup.
Yeah.
And